Hello everyone. I'm Muhammad Hasif. So today I'm going to talk about database security and threats. So stay tuned. So before I proceed to database security and threats, I will first talk about what is a database. So database is technically an organized or collection of structured information or data, typically stored electronically in a computer system. A database is usually controlled by a database management system. Together, the data and the DBMS, along with the applications that are associated with them, are referred to as a database system, often shortened to just database. So, what is a database security? Database security refers to the range of tools, controls, and measures involved to establish a preserved database confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Database security encompasses a range of security controls designed to protect the database management system (DBMS). The type of database security measures your business should use include protecting the underlying infrastructure that houses the database, such as the network and servers, securely configuring the DBMS, and the access to the data itself. So, why is database security important to us? Because it is important because it is essential to any company with any online component. Sufficient database security prevents data being lost or compromised, which may have serious ramifications for the company both in terms of finances or reputation. So here are the examples of database security that are important that we can see nowadays. First, company use it to block attacks, including ransomware and breach firewalls, which in terms keeps sensitive information safe. It also prevents malware or viral infections which can corrupt the data, bring down a network, or spread to all endpoint devices. It also ensures that physical damage to the server doesn't result in the loss of data, and it prevents data loss through corruption of files or programming errors. So, in database security, there are three types of level of security. First level is database level. In these levels, there are three types of security solutions. First is masking, second is tokenization, and three is encryption. In the second level of database security is the access level. In this access level, there are two types of security solutions that are access control list and permissions. And lastly, the third level of database security is the perimeter level. In this perimeter level, there are also two types of security solutions, that is firewalls and VPN, virtual private networks. So, in database security, there are a few factors that we have to be concerned about. First factor is the database activity monitoring, the DAM. This is one of the most important components when securing our database. DBA services use this consideration when protecting our system. The DAM is crucial. It monitors everything that goes inside our database and alert that anything is suspicious. So by using the DAM, we can know who are accessing our data, when they are accessing our data, and when they are accessing our data. A comprehensive reporting system is crucial to protect our database against hackers and other intrusions. Second factor that can be concerned about is the compliance. There are different statutes in different industries, and the protection product you must deploy must meet such standards. The focus in this compliance requirement is mostly about real-time monitoring. The third factor that can be concerned is the duty separation. Access to the database should only be for those who have the access to the database should only be for those who have tasks related to the database, to the data that's stored in the database. A good protection system should make it possible to control access based on the actual task. By limiting access to our database, we can protect against any malicious breaches while also reducing any risk of external threats. The fourth factor that can be concerned is the data masking. The risk of data loss, even it is small for a business, it is real and important to safeguard against using every strategy possible. Data masking entails gathering data to avoid free access even by remote database services. For example, while your remote DBA might need access to the database, there is no reason to warrant free access to everything. Your DBA can see the files in the system without having to read all the details. So this is the factor that can be concerned about the data masking. And the last factor that can be concern is the encryption. This is the very popular, very oldest, and very or what can they say about that is being used nowadays, always being used nowadays. This is the oldest trick in the book. Data encryption can save us from a lot of trouble. We can encrypt anything in the database in case someone has access to the information without our consent. There are different levels of encryption depending on the type of data that we want to store. You can also encrypt data emanating from your database before it reaches the user. This protects the data in case someone other than the intended recipient, like someone else, that someone we don't know, from trying to use or steal the data. The user will need to use their authentication credentials such as the password, such as our ID, PIN number, for the data to become accessible for the user, that want to access the data. So, finish about database security. Now we will proceed to database threat. So what is a database threat? Database threat is any threats or any event or situation, whether intentionally or accidentally, that may adversely affect a system and consequently an organization. So there are many types of threats in the database, but there are a few major threats that we can know in a database. One of them is the loss of availability. This refers to the non-availability of database objects by legitimate users. Secondly, the loss of integrity. Loss of integrity occurs when unacceptable operations are performed upon the database either accidentally or maliciously. This may happen when we are creating a data, when we are inserting a data, updating or deleting a data, either with intention or non-intention. It may result in a corrupted data, leading to an incorrect decision or results that we don't want it to. And lastly, the loss of confidentiality. Confidentiality loss occurs due to unauthorized or unintentional disclosure or confidential information. It may result in illegal actions, security threats, and loss in public confidence about our data. So, how can we control a threat in a database? How can we manage the threat in a database? So, here I have list out a few control that we can use to manage the threat in a database. First is the access control. Access control includes a security mechanism in a database management system to protect against unauthorized access. A user can gain access to the database after clearing the login process through only valid user accounts. For example, when a user want to enter an account like Facebook, like Instagram, like Twitter, they have to put in their email or their password. So, by using this access control, the user's password must be protected at all costs, so that those who want to access their information, access their account, cannot access their account because the password of the real user is being protected. So secondly is the flow control. Flow control is a distributed system and encompasses a lot of data flow from one site to another and also within a site, from one site to another site. Flow control prevents data from being transferred in such a way that it can be accessed by unauthorized agents. Means that the data that's going to be transferred from one site to another site is being controlled. The flow of the transfer is being controlled. A flow policy lists out the channels through which information can flow. Only authorized flow can be go through by the data to be transferred. It also defines security classes for data as well as transaction. And lastly, the aerial headings. Aerial head is mean data encryption refers to coding data when sensitive data is to be communicated over public channels. Even if an unauthorized agent gain access of the data, he cannot understand it since it is an incomprehensible format. This means that the data is being encrypted to a coding data which cannot be accessed by an authorized person or authority out there. So here are a few examples of database threats that we should know, that we can see that are happen nowadays, such as the cloud database in configuration errors, SQL injection, weak authentication such as weak password, weak PIN number, and then the privilege abuse, excessive privilege such as too many privileges that are being used, inadequate logging, and weak auditing means that we are very seldom in logging our account. We rarely use our account, key in our password, and then the denial of service of cannot use the service, in secure system architecture, and inadequate backup. Inadequate backup means that we seldomly backup our data, because that's why we have to always backup our data, no matter what data we have in our mobile phone, in our laptop. We have to always backup our data so that our data is being secured and being updated from time to time. So now I have come up with the most common database security issues, the top 10 common database security issues that we can see. There are 10 type of database security issues, and I have sorted out through the statistic that can be seen. So the most common database security issue is the excessive permissions, which is too much permissions that is being given for accessing a data. And then secondly is weak password. Weak password is when we needed to make a password for such account, like a bank account, like our Facebook account, Instagram account. We need to make a new password or make our own password, and then they ask us to use exactly 8 or more than 8 characters. So some people they put like 8 characters, exactly 8 characters, because when even they say that we must put 8 characters at least, but that is weak for such password. We must can put our more than 8 characters, so that our password is not that weak, so that people cannot, especially hackers, cannot access our account as we have a strong password. And then third, the missing patches, missing data, such as missing data and so on. Poorly configured logging means that we inadequate of logging, lack of logging, seldomly log into our account, default account name. When we need to make an account, we must put our username, but sometimes we put our name that is same like someone else, so that can be also be a issue to a database security. And then 25% is excessive stored procedures, 20% SSL not enabled, 20% SS database over RPC, 15% blank password allowed, such as blank space bar in the password, and then 50% duplicate password. We use too many password with too many account, such as Facebook account, Instagram account, but with the same password. That is also a database security issues that always being said, that always being how can we say that we can see nowadays. So here are the list of references that I've used to make this video, to make this slide. So for further information about database security and threats, do type in this link in Google and search for it. There are more information, more about database security and threats. So thanks for watching my video. If you like my video, do subscribe my channel or like my video. Thank you for watching and have a good day.